to raise a family on one income. And we are reaching the end of the age of exuberance. And real wages have been declining since 1973. And now I know people who have children who have two incomes, and they still are having a hard time. That wasn't what things were like in the 50s and 60s. And so there is this mythology that they're supposed to be able to work a job and have some time off, but those days are disappearing.
Derek, thank you for having me here. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you for setting this up, and thank you for coming.
Absolutely. In a world with so many labels, everyone watching this video, they're going to want to know, what are you? Who are you? Can I trust you? Right, left? What would you call yourself?
I would say that I'm an environmentalist. I would say that I can sum up all of my work in one sentence, which is, this way of living won't last forever, and when it's done, I would rather there's more of the natural world left rather than less. I'm somebody who cares about wild nature, and so that's really my entree to all this. We can also talk about, to steal a phrase from Lear Keith, I'm an old growth lefty, by which I mean that I was at one point a lefty, and the left has gone so completely insane that I no longer recognize it. So now I would call myself politically homeless. Mm-hmm. I guess those are two of the ways I would identify.
You've been canceled?
Yeah, I was a semi-early adopter of getting canceled. It's been quite a while now, and it's very interesting because I've written some quite provocative things in my career. One of my most famous lines is, every morning when I wake up, I ask myself whether I should write or blow up a dam.
I wrote that down in one of my questions.
It's and I would write strongly against the corporate governing system. I would write strongly against lots of issues, and nobody cared. And then I found out that if you don't believe that men can become women, and you don't believe that queer theory is the new wonderful religion that is going to guide us all to freedom, then you get canceled. Here's a great example. So I wrote this book in 2001, 2002, called The Culture of Make-Believe. And one of the things I did that I'm very proud of in that book is I predicted that when economies collapse, the right goes crazy. And so I had the opportunity for that. It's like I chose along the Campbell line. That way didn't have meaning for me, so I chose a different way. And that's not to say it's been easy. There have been times I was poor enough, I was collecting cans. It's like, but I have to say, it's really easy to be that courageous when at any time you can quit, when you have an engineering degree in your pocket, and you can quit at any time. There's a difference between collecting cans because your option is going to Walmart to try to get a job, and collecting cans because your option is starting at $36K, $1983 the next week. Mm-hmm. So I'm really glad I got the degree. And when people ask me, I always tell them they should keep their option.
It's been an interesting change of pace for me on the X timeline. Usually I'm the one logging on to spew my hot takes, getting attacked for it, and ending up with my friends coming out to bat for me despite my sometimes wacky opinions. This time, however, I've been the one donning the white cloak and protecting Milady from the unadulterated rage of people online. And here she is, my fair maiden in question, the innocent Zoomer, who is pissed off at the absolute state of the Western economy.
I know I'm probably just being so dramatic and annoying, But this is my first job, like my first 9 to 5 job after college, and I'm in person, and I'm commuting in the city, and it takes me fucking forever to get there. There's no way I'm gonna be able to afford living in the city right now, so that's off the table. Like, fucking duh! If I was able to walk to work, it'd be fine, but I'm not. So it literally takes me, like, I leave here, like, I get on the train at 7:30, and I don't get home till, like, 6:15 earliest, and then, like, I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like, I don't have energy to work out. Like, that's out the window. Like, I'm so upset. Oh my god. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just, like, the 9 to 5 schedule in general is crazy. Being in the office 9 to 5, like, if you
friends, and that the job market is so bad she had to take the first one she was offered without any regard for anything else. Now imagine this girl, instead of just looking like your average 20-something Zoomer, put on her mega cap, made a little TikTok account with the username PatriotGirly2002, and instead of simply ranting about the problems, she was actually telling you exactly why she feels this way. I've got no money because Joe Biden's terrible COVID policies that caused rampant inflation, she says. I can't live in a city because of mass migration, government red tape, corporate meddling, and foreign buyers that drive up the rent prices so high. Because of my hours-long commute, I don't have time to find a husband, and even if I did, I would still have to work rather than be a stay-at-home mom with the kids in order to support our family because the Democrats have destroyed this economy, or the Liberals in Canada. And the cities feel unsafe because of rampant crime due to catch and release policies that Democrats put in place. Every conservative and boomer right now who is dunking on her would instead be singing her praises from the rooftops. How brave, how intelligent, not like most young people out there these days, she's got her head screwed on right. Everything that this girl is saying is exactly what conservatives say, just without their analysis to match it up. I think I might actually go insane if I see one more reply from Sandra or Darren, 62, who constantly rails about the state of the modern world, but then leaps down the throat of any young person who dares to say that their situation is just a little bit shitty, and maybe they want things to change. Once again, just work a second job on top of your full-time job to pay for rent in the city, they'll say. Great. And then when she ends up a single woman at 30 years old with cats because she had no time to date or have a social life, they'll go back and say to her, look how you wasted your life. Feminism has ruined women. There's truly no winning for young girls like this. Just find a husband and go live off him, other conservatives have suggested. When? If she lives at home with her parents searching for Mr. Right, then she's a lazy freeloader, and that's assuming her parents even let her stay in the house past 18. If she's uneducated and has no job, she's also far less likely to date a man who is of high quality, as the most common form of matchmaking is social assortative mating. Educated people are more likely to marry and date other educated people. Ambitious individuals are more likely to date and be with ambitious individuals. Not to mention, even amongst the most traditional of my peers, it is almost always the case that they need 2 incomes to support themselves. Through no fault of their own, most men cannot support a family on a single income today. This is certainly the case in Canada. I assume it's the case in a lot of places in America as well. There's been a few 1 year prior to that, I was already being taught about the Zizemzer gender unicorn at my job. The oldest millennials at the time were only 35, and progressive ideologies of all sorts were already pervasive through our governments, corporations, and media. So I just don't buy that every Zoomer popped out of the womb with multicolored hair and started telling elected officials to go off the gold standard, scratch Orwell from their curriculums, and sell off all their housing to China. Look, I'm not here to go on a total boomer bashing seethe fest. I know some of my audience would love to hear that, but just like knocking the Zoomers, it's not actually productive. And I know I've got some great boomers in my audience, lovely people, many of whom agree with everything I am saying. Every generation throughout history has thought and considered the younger generation than them to be lazier, feckless, not willing to get on with the hard graft, but it's never really been true. It's pointless to debate about work ethic when right now one of the biggest problems in this intergenerational disconnect is the
Go to sleep.
Time to speak up. Which, the power in you.
I made Farmlands nearly 5 years ago now, and in that film, I depict the atrocious racism and violence directed towards the white South African farming minority. More than that, though, the film touched on the general destabilization of what every world leader swore to us would be a progressive success story, the Rainbow Nation, which increasingly, rather than attempt to reduce racism, has just directed it towards other groups, non-blacks, in the form of Black economic empowerment policies, which ensure Black people are propped up over any other group in the country, white, Asian, Indian, doesn't matter, right? Farmlands overall predicted a very bleak future for South Africa based on the course it has taken. In some cases, interview subjects even predicting civil war and total infrastructure collapse.
Fundamentally, we're saying we believe that the trajectory of our state suggests that it is going to end badly, that this trajectory is going to collide with a wall or a window or whatever.
The family doesn't use it for its day-to-day use. It's specifically a preparation for a nationwide anarchy situation.
The scale and thoroughness of these preparations would make you think the apocalypse is just around the corner. But Simon assured me that these were only the preparations of one of thousands of others across the country prepping in the same way. Now, many at the time of the film's release called this an insane conspiracy theory. Lauren, none of this is going to happen, right? But with the U.S. just last month issuing safe